Hello, Lauren here on the highway. A number of years ago, a semi hauling grain hit the ditch on our quiet rural road. The road conditions were fine. What caused the mishap? The driver's can of pop fell, and he quickly reached down to retrieve it, resulting in him losing control and driving off the road. Thankfully, there were no injuries and minimal damage. I recall about 35 years ago, a teacher had a great idea of sharing a bit of farm fun with her students. She took a hen and chicks to school. Not the plant, but the birds. I believe it was on the trip home that the hen got out of the box, and you can imagine what happened next. In all the activity and reactivity, the vehicle ended up off the road. I don't remember if the driver or chickens were hurt, but the accident wasn't part of the lesson plan. In the early 2000s, on a trip to Ontario, I realized how little and slow-paced our traffic is on the prairies. I got anxious more than a few times encountering 6-lane traffic with merges and exits that seemed to come up with very little time to decide or react. So I'm doing all I can just to drive, and I look over and see a guy driving, talking on his phone, and reading a map propped against his steering wheel. Show off. At one time, that may have been considered cool. Now it's called distracted driving. In fact, each of these stories, these true stories I've related, are instances of distractions affecting driving. Most of the time, there are no serious consequences, but often there are. Sometimes a narrow miss or a minor rear-ender, but sometimes, tragically, a fatal head-on or rollover. Proverbs 4, verses 25 to 27 instructs us, "Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet and stay on the safe path. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil." More good advice in Colossians 3, verse 2. "Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth." And Hebrews 12, 1-2 says, "Let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne." Distracted driving is one thing, but what about distracted living? We are created for fellowship with God, which can only happen as we accept the way he made by our advocate Jesus Christ through his life, death, and resurrection. He said, and he had every right to say, "I am the way, truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me." Jesus is God's Son, and he came to earth to make and show the way. When we are distracted from that purpose for which we were created and are created, we veer off the pathway to real love, peace, joy, and fulfillment, that abundant life that our Heavenly Father has promised us. And sometimes we end up in the ditch, or worse. I won't ask if you drive distracted at times, but I will ask if you've been doing some distracted living, letting temporal things take priority over that which has eternal value and consequence. They may not be terrible things, they may even be good things, but they somehow have taken the place of your having a vital personal relationship with God. There's an old hymn that says, "Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace." Life is a highway. It's a long and winding road. Jesus, take the wheel. I pray you experience God's presence in a special way today.